Shifting focus now to Central Africa, where neighbours Gabon and Equatorial Guinea are locked in a territorial dispute over 3 small islands. Now, the face-off between the 2 African countries is being played out in The Hague, where the International Court is now in charge of solving the dispute. Gabon and Equatorial Guinea for years have been squabbling over 3 islands that cover up to just 30 hectares, and these include the island of Mbanie and 2 smaller low-lying islets, Cocotier and Conga. They are virtually uninhabited, but the discovery of oil on the islands has pitted the neighbours against each other, who are fighting for their claim. After years of mediation by the United Nations, both sides ultimately agreed to let the World Court settle the dispute. Teams of legal experts are representing both sides at the ICJ. They are contesting which legal document should guide the court's decision. Equatorial Guinea's claim is based on a convention dating back to the year 1900, when colonial powers France and Spain signed to set out the borders between the 2 countries. It argues that Gabon's claim over the island is factually and legally untenable.
Despite its international law obligations to respect this inherited situation, Gabon began efforts to alter the territorial map in 1970 after Spain had withdrawn its armed forces that protected Equatorial Guinea, and after oil companies had reported significant hydrocarbon prospects in the maritime areas adjacent to Mbanie, Cocotier, and Conga.
Gabon, meanwhile, says that the ICJ should base its judgment on another agreement called the Bata Convention from 1974, which gives it sovereignty over the islands.
It is therefore up to you, ladies and gentlemen of the court, to determine whether the Bata Agreement is binding on the parties. If it is, the die is cast. This treaty, which in our view is fully valid, resolves all the problems of sovereignty over the islands and the demarcation of borders.
Equatorial Guinea rejects this document and says that the agreement is unsigned and not original. The country told the World Court that Gabon invaded the islands in 1972 and has occupied them illegally ever since. In 1972, Gabon's army drove Equatorial Guinea soldiers from the islands. Gabon has since set up its own military presence in the area. Which side's argument is justified is now for the World Court to decide. The hearings at the ICJ will last for a week, and the court is expected to give its final and binding ruling sometime next year.
Firstpost decodes the U.S. election. Explains how America chooses its president. Your primer on the race to the White House. Everything you need to know about how America votes and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained. Every Monday and Thursday only on Firstpost.